Good morning and welcome to the Face the Chamber featuring the Honorable Mayor Jane Castor. I am Maryann Ferenc and I am chair of the Tampa Bay Chamber. I know some of you are still joining us and we welcome everyone, but we'd like to get started. We have a fantastic turnout. We have over 500 people joining us this morning. Everyone's microphones have been muted automatically. That way we eliminate any unintentional background noise, like dogs, and we will only be utilizing the video for the guest speakers. You should be able to see a smaller screen pop up within the video of the speaker if there are any slides or video up for you to view at the same time. During the presentation process, everyone had the opportunity to submit topics and questions for Mayor Castor to address this morning. We received a huge number of submissions and we'll do our best to address everything in the time that we have together this morning. The chat feature has been disabled, but if you would like to ask a question, please submit via the Q&A feature. Because we have such a jam-packed agenda with questions, we will try to get to all of them, but we may not be able to, and we'll try to find a way to answer them outside of our Zoom this morning. This event is a continuation of the Chamber's ongoing efforts to work collaboratively with our elected officials. We have several events throughout the year that are designed to give our members a better understanding of key public policy issues that could influence their businesses and the Tampa Bay community. We are thrilled that Mayor Castor has taken time out this morning from her incredibly busy schedule to be with the community this morning, and we look forward to a truly lively discussion. Now I'd like to extend a very sincere and special thanks to St. Leo University, our presenting sponsor of today's program. St. Leo has been a faithful supporter of this event for several years, and we really appreciate their continued commitment to the Chamber and to this event. And now, I would like to invite Dr. Jeffrey Sinise to speak on behalf of St. Leo University. But first, we have a video to show you. We'll go ahead and play that for you now.
My grandfather had always wanted me to go to this school. On its campus in Tampa Bay, convenient education centers, and online everywhere, St. Leo University provides a supportive, affordable, and innovative education that prepares students for successful, rewarding careers. I feel prepared for the future. St. Leo University gave me the tools that I need for success. St. Leo University. For more information, visit us at stleo.edu.
Good morning. Great to be here again this year, and I'll say it out loud like I did last year. Dr. Rolack, you can count on us to support this event each year. We enjoy being a supporter and being part of the community. I am particularly honored to be here. Our mayor has done a phenomenal job with the COVID-19 situation, so we really appreciate her, and I'm really looking forward to hearing what she has to say. St. Leo University is one of the largest Catholic universities in the United States. We operate on more than a dozen military bases across the country, and as you saw, we have a beautiful palm tree-lined lakeside campus out here in Pasco County, part of Tampa Bay. This is an extraordinary historic time. I'm not going to talk about COVID because I'm sure we're going to hear lots of questions about that. We've been here for 131 years. So you say, why would St. Leo University sponsor this event? Well, we're part of this community. We have major operations in Tampa. We are moving from Channelside to the cigar factory on Howard and 275. Construction is occurring there. So we look forward to inviting the mayor to help us with the ribbon cutting. We educate and employ thousands of people in Tampa Bay area. We're a large employer in the area. Our people live and work here. We had a study done last year. Our impact on the state of Florida is $350 million. Our impact nationally is $1 billion. So we are a major operator in Tampa Bay. We are always going to be headquartered in this area. We also have done some pretty innovative things. So we have a Center for Alternative Programs and Credentials that if you're curious about providing short-term credentialing or short-term experiences for your employees, we can custom design those for that purpose. We're a global institution as well. We have offices in Beijing, Mumbai, and Ho Chi Minh City right now. We're looking at other areas. Over the last 2 years, we've created programs in software engineering, data science, data analytics. We just got approval for a nursing bachelor's program, a respiratory therapy program, which we think are particularly timely, and 100 other programs. So we've had a cybersecurity program for a decade, NSA certified, that sort of thing. So from a business perspective, think about us as a $200 million business with locations in many states and 23,000 customers. Oh, and by the way, we are twice the size of Notre Dame University and almost 3 times the size of Villanova. So just to give you a context for size. We have 96,000 alumni across all 50 states, and will continue to be located and grounded here in Tampa Bay and in Tampa in particular. We believe strongly in our community leaders, Mayor Castor, the council, our chamber leadership, and we thank you very much for your service, especially during the time that we're in right now. Again, good morning, and thank you for your attention.
Well, thank you for your support, Dr. Sinise and St. Leo University, and thank you for your participation, your robust participation on the Tampa Bay Chamber Board and Executive Committee. It's been really meaningful, as is your support today here of this webinar. Now I'd like to introduce our keynote speaker for today's webinar, Mayor Jane Castor. A graduate of Chamberlain High and student athlete at the University of Tampa, Jane Castor was born and raised in Tampa. Before becoming our city's 59th mayor, she has been a fierce advocate for the Tampa community and has a proven record of accomplishment through her 31-year career with the Tampa Police Department, a career highlighted by becoming the first woman to be named police chief in the city of Tampa. Community outreach and leadership were cornerstones of her career in the police department, and she is also a proud graduate of Leadership Tampa class of 2000. Possibly best class ever. Mayor Castor is a proud Seminole Heights resident and even more proud of her role as mom to 2 boys, Sergey and Sealy. I also want to say that the mayor has, in this time, both with the chamber and with other small businesses and industries throughout the community in COVID-19, been so clearly engaged, and her entire staff has been so clearly engaged, that that's going to make for even more robust and meaningful conversation this morning, and I'm very grateful to her for how much she has been deeply engaged with the business community at this time. Before we hear from her, though, let's watch an inspirational video from the mayor's office.
Hello, Tampa. This is Mayor Jane Castor. 1 year ago today, I swore an oath to be your mayor, to uphold and defend the charter and ordinances of the city of Tampa, to support the Constitution, and to well and faithfully perform my duties as the 59th mayor of this great city. As a lifelong resident, it has been my greatest honor to lead our city over the past year. In good times and in bad, our community has shown one-of-a-kind resilience. We've celebrated together, we've overcome obstacles together, we've thanked our heroes, and we've helped our neighbors. This past year, we made major strides towards transforming Tampa's tomorrow, and this is just the beginning. From new community traditions like Boom by the Bay and New Year's Eve, to getting down to work fixing our roads, renewing our pipes, and shining a light on every corner of our city. We worked hard, we played hard, and we grew stronger together. Even now, as we face this global COVID-19 crisis, I have never been more hopeful for our city's future. Because if there's one thing I know to be true, it's that Tampa has grit. We still have roads to pave, big dreams to fulfill, and unforgettable memories to make together. and we are not slowing down. I believe Tampa's rich narrative is only as compelling and relevant as the collection of individual narratives that comprise our diverse community. Carol Post is one of our administrators here in this city. To this end, a series of advisory teams were developed consisting of subject matter experts and many interested and knowledgeable individuals. Through the Community Heroes program, City of Tampa employees can receive up to $5,000 in down payment assistance. Small businesses are the backbone of the City of Tampa. This budget reflects the optimism and hope that I have for the City of Tampa's future. Dessa the Wonder office dog, Alcadessa. This is the time to write our next chapter by transforming Tampa's tomorrow. We have to work together to ensure there are sufficient housing options for all Tampanians to afford. City employees will be paid $15 an hour. Today, we are releasing the findings and recommendations from our Transportation Advisory Team. Carry up the arts and safety with our Crosswalks to Classrooms program. Ensure that we didn't have any more beads thrown out into the bay. All departments are coming together to create a safer environment for all. Housing affordability is a community-wide issue that will require a community-wide effort. Right now is such an exciting time to live, work, and play in our city. I want you to know we have not stopped working for you. Our City of Tampa team is moving full steam ahead, laser focused on achieving our goals and building the city we all want to live, work, and play in. Our community is bigger than any obstacle, and together we are unstoppable. Let's continue transforming Tampa's tomorrow so that our kids and their kids can be proud to call our city home. Tampa is the greatest city in the nation, and I thank you for allowing me to lead us into this next chapter. All right. Do I just start now? I have to check to make sure nobody's in their pajamas out there. And I also have to apologize ahead of time, you guys. I'm glad you saw the video with Alcadessa, the office dog. She pretty much runs the show. So if you hear her barking in the background, that would be her. She gets a little anxious. But thank you all for having me this morning. This is without a doubt a highlight, although different this year is a highlight for me every year prior to becoming mayor, and then last year, my first one as the mayor. So as you all are aware, I took office just a little bit over a year ago, and with a vision to dream big and to build on the momentum of the previous mayors. And we have accomplished a great deal. We got to work immediately at transforming Tampa's tomorrow and focused on those areas that are important to our community. First and foremost, development services. Then we worked on transportation, housing affordability, workforce development, and the last will be sustainability and resiliency. We have the plans on each of those. We have released all but the workforce development, and that will be released this Friday. Big plans in that area. We have made great strides in the other areas, specifically the development services, and we have big plans for transportation and housing affordability in our community. Most of you out there know Whit Reamer, and he is the latest and greatest addition to our team. He is the first Sustainability and Resiliency Officer for the City of Tampa, and so we have great expectations of him, and we have a long list as he walks in the door on Monday morning. So he's going to be a great addition. We have accomplished a great deal already with the pipes plan. That's the largest infrastructure plan in the city's history to replace our water and wastewater pipes. As you saw in the video, we were able to raise our minimum wage for all of our employees to $15 an hour. And you know, for all of us, we just may take that in stride, but some of you may have heard me tell the story of shortly after we did that, was hurricane season, and we were filling sandbags for residents. And there was a young male that came up to me, a parks employee, and he said, "Thank you for raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour." He said, "You have no idea what that means for myself and my family." And so, you know, just taking those small steps that make a huge difference in our, not only our employees' lives, but in our citizens' lives as well. And we clearly know how to have fun, as you saw the Boom by the Bay. I haven't completely canceled that, but I'm doubtful that we'll be able to carry that off by July 4th of this year. And then our New Year's Eve celebration, and I begged my staff not to make me say booty drop one more time. So hopefully that's over with. And unfortunately, it's those kind of things that actually make national news. Another program that I was very proud of was our Intersections to Innovation, where we brought a group of entrepreneurs together to provide ideas and solutions for city problems. And that was really nothing short of fascinating. So we're continuing with that program as well. And our Beads by our Bead Free Bay program was a huge success as well. So we will be able to gradually make our bay much safer. My little Dessa has to sit up here next to me. And then, of course, came March and COVID-19, which none of us expected, and there was really no way to prepare for that. But we clearly have done the best that we could as a community. One of the things, I was very fortunate to be a very active part of the U.S. U.S. Conference of Mayors. And as such, I had the ability to talk to mayors around the United States. And the one thing that I heard from my friends in Seattle, San Francisco, Chicago, New York, was to shut your city down as quickly as you can. And so I pushed vigorously. I'm sure others have a different phrase for it, but I pushed vigorously to have the safer at home put in place. And so we passed that early on, and really that has been credited with keeping our number of positive cases at a minimum, and then clearly the resulting deaths at a minimum as well. So very proud of that. And then we also opened up, developed programs to help our citizens and our small businesses. The first was One Tampa, and we cobbled together grant funding. A lot of the individuals in the audience today participated and donated to that. And so we were able to provide mortgage and rent and utility relief for our residents. And then we also had the same program for our small businesses. So very, very proud of that. So that's just to give you an idea of what that need is out there. And then another one you saw in the video, the Feeding Tampa Bay. I participate in that every Saturday. They did a survey a couple of Saturdays ago. 70% of the individuals in line at Feeding Tampa Bay had never received any type of donation in their life. 60% had just lost their jobs. And we serve approximately 4,000 families a day at that one particular event. So the effect of COVID-19 on our community is very deep and very wide. We also had our Lift Up Local program that has been very beneficial to restaurants and retail in the community. And I thank Maryann and others that really came together and came together in a partnership and helped us develop it in a way that it would be the most advantageous for the businesses, while also being a wonderful opportunity for our citizens and to be able to support our local businesses. We passed it in 2020, and I had my executive staff on a Saturday go through that 2020 budget to see what we could save out of there. Projects that had not been implemented, positions that had not been filled, and we were able to basically take approximately $12 million out of that budget to be able to use in the coming year. And we believe that we will be fine moving into 2021. We're going to restructure some bonds, and we're going to make some other cuts, but there won't be anything dramatic taken out of the 2021 budget. So we're very, very proud of that. We've been excellent stewards of the tax dollar and very conservative as well in our budgets in the past, and I thank the past administrations for that. And we will continue that trend moving forward. So what I know, I'll close it up and open it up to questions here, but this has clearly been a very, very memorable year. But the reality is you never know what is going to come your way. And so you have to be prepared prepare for the worst and hope for the best has always been a mantra. But one of the things before we open it up to questions, one of the things that I want to highlight is what an incredible community that we live in. And we all know that when we come together, we are unstoppable and that we can accomplish anything. We have seen that the past couple of months. And I want to send out a personal thank you to every single individual watching this video today and participating with the Chamber of Commerce. A special shout out to Bob, who has just been an incredible shoulder to lean on. But I want to thank you all personally for your mentorship, your guidance, your counsel, your friendship, but mostly for your partnership, because this is not the mayor of a city running a city. A successful city is a partnership. And that's why we are so successful, is because each and every one of you have stood up in this time of need, and you have done what we needed to have done at that particular time. So I thank you all very much. I am so excited about the future. We are not stopping. We may have had a slight delay, but we are moving forward, and we are going to continue to write Tampa's next chapter and ensure that Tampa is the greatest city in the nation. So thank you all very much. And Maryann, I will open it up for questions now.
Well, thank you so much, Mayor Castor, for the remarks that you just made, the video, which gave us a great history of what has happened since you've been mayor, of your comments just now, and of that real reach out into the community and asking for our participation and allowing us to be a part of the process before COVID-19 and now during COVID-19. So thank you very much. Now it's time to face the chamber. We do have some great questions, and so I want to start with something around COVID-19. The reopening guidance from the state all the way up to the White House. Are you feeling that the messages are what the community needs?
Well, for the reopening, I was very pleased to see that the governor is reopening our state slowly and incrementally. And so that will give us the opportunity, if necessary, to tighten up again, if we see surges. And just for everybody's information, we have in place. We have ramped up the testing. So we are having large numbers of individuals being tested for the virus in our community. We have contact tracing to research those individuals that someone with the virus has come in contact with. We also have a syndromic surveillance system that maps out all the positive cases, maps out community movement, so that we will be able to predict any surges and get services down in there. So we're doing a lot in the background towards COVID-19. One, ensuring that the spread of the virus is a minimum, but also ensuring that we have the supplies and the services that we need. So I am pleased with the way the governor has moved very slowly. I think that the opening of bars will be problematic. I know that bar owners are hurting at this particular time. I understand that. And my desire is that we use some of that relief money to assist those bars and keep them closed for a couple more weeks. But I anticipate that the bars will open in short order. But I'm pleased with the way that the governor has opened the state, yes, incrementally.
Okay, as I mentioned earlier, these questions came to us during the registration process, and we appreciate everybody, being willing to put forth their questions to the mayor today in Face the Chamber. This next question that you did address in your comments, but maybe you want to dig in a little more with us in how the city's working to address the projected budget shortfall and the economic impact. Are there any other thoughts that you want to share with us there? Anything that the community should know?
With the budget shortfalls, again, being a part of the U.S. Conference of Mayors, and then I have the privilege of being a member of the Bloomberg Harvard Mayors Leadership Cohort. So I speak to a number of mayors around the United States, and in your backyard, you make these assumptions that others are in the same condition you are. But I tell you, as a community, we are in a very good position as far as the budget is concerned. We have already received our property taxes. Clearly, there's going to be huge cuts in the sales tax. We have yet to see what this virus is going to do to property values, but we will be able to weather this storm. We are going to have to tighten our belts in certain areas, but by restructuring some of our bonds, we should be able to come through this, and we have had a very, very robust reserve for just these types of situations. And so we may have to use some of our reserve funds, but we will be able to get through this. There are other communities that the second that the virus hit, they had to furlough a third of their city employees, city staff, and others who have said, I have no idea how we're going to pay our first responders. So there are some communities throughout the United States that are in dire straits. We are not one of those communities. And I believe that we owe a debt of gratitude to previous administrations for being very conservative with the budget. And that is the way that I have been and will continue to be moving through this virus and, other difficult times we may face.
That's good news for us. You've been outspoken in the county's emergency policy group. Does the city have proper representation in the EPG, and should the population of cities dictate the number of seats within that policy group?
The emergency policy group was developed as a response to hurricanes. I'm the school board chair on the emergency policy, the evacuation locations. So it's a group that functions well, but I do agree that after we go through this COVID-19 situation and make it safely through hurricane season, that we should revisit the number of individuals on there, because for us to have 400,000 in our community, and Plant City and Temple Terrace have around 80,000 combined residents, that we should just discuss the structure. But it has worked well. I know on the outside, some individuals may have perceived friction, but I just see that as a passion for your particular community. And I have a very good working relationship with each of the individuals and each of the entities that are represented on that board. And I think that we did a good job, or are doing a good job, for the county of Hillsborough and the associated cities within it.
I'm sorry. You talked about this in your comments today, that we've seen a collective resiliency and this willingness to serve from the people in this city, and the businesses and residents both. How can individuals and businesses give back during the recovery process?
That's one of the things that I have asked everyone consistently. One, as far as the virus is concerned, is to assume that you have it and then act accordingly. And with the recovery from this, I think that everyone who has not been in some way impacted by this virus should do everything in their power to give back. Whether that is a monetary donation to a nonprofit, or if that is volunteering in the myriad of organizations that are out there helping our citizens every single day. Everybody needs some assistance. Even Feeding Tampa Bay, with all of the donations that they've received, there's a fear that as we move through this, that those donations may wane, and the need is still there. We still have well over 12% unemployment, when we were looking below 3% not long ago. So there are still people hurting in our community, and there are so many ways that an individual can volunteer.
So something that the Chamber can continue to do is keep the business community informed of those different ways that they can participate going forward, as when it becomes not a part of your daily life so much in the recovery process, we might need to be reminded of the ways that there are to give. And we'll take that advice from you, Mayor. In light of the pandemic and more people working from home, schooling, what has been the city's progress towards expanding technologies like 5G that provide high-speed internet access wirelessly?
Well, we are currently, you see those poles all over. We are currently expanding the 5G experience all over the downtown area, and a plan for it throughout the city. A lot of that is being driven by the Super Bowl coming here in February. But we are expanding that, and expanding into neighborhoods that have not historically had Wi-Fi agreements that I can negotiate as the 5G, to ensure that they are making it available throughout the city and not just in particular neighborhoods. So that's one of the ways that we are advancing. And then clearly with the we have made great advance known at how we work as a nation, because not everyone needs to drive to work, as we have found, and there are a lot of advantages of being able to work remotely.
One of them being, for those of us who can't bring our dogs to work, giving a chance to work with our dogs. It's the greatest thing, right?
Yeah, I'm going to write on my resume. My latest is having to alternate dogs as I do an interview. I'm not sure any mayor can do that yet. There's a level of jealousy in this home.
Your administration has reorganized a variety of departments and added a few others. And we've certainly seen that throughout their reaction to COVID-19. We've really seen those people out in the community. How will the new structure better support residents and businesses alike?
Well, first and foremost, I think the majority of the individuals that are tuned in today will see those differences in development services. And as we put that task force together, we dramatic changes in customer service, in the way that we serve our community day to day, in the structure of that department, so that there wasn't a redundancy, there was clearer lines of communication. And so what I have heard from developers all the way to individual citizens looking for permits are very positive comments of the ease with which they could get what they needed done through development services. And one of the things many of you have heard me say when I first took office, it was one of my favorite things at the police department, as we had gone through years of organizational change in the police department. And I always said, if anybody utters the phrase, "That's the way we've always done it," you will be shot at dawn. And so we have changed in our department the approach. We have a can-do attitude. Let's find a way to get things done, not a response of "here's why we can't do it." And I think that the team appreciates that as well, being able to work with their customers, our citizens, to get things done and to do it we can possibly muster.
I'm gonna insert a question from the audience here this morning, and we have a question that is: how is the social distancing progressing on transit locally, and how is the BRT downtown to USF coming, and how can we help further? That's kind of three questions in one there.
Yeah, that is a lot of what we said is our Achilles heel is transportation or lack thereof. So I say we're so far behind, we think we're first in transportation. Hart is in some financial straits, to just be blunt. And there will be additional cuts in routes until we receive some type of government funding, which hopefully will be coming along. We have made every attempt to first and foremost protect all of the drivers and all of the Hart staff, but then also encourage riders to wear facial covering and ensure that they are practicing social distancing. Some of that is difficult, especially in the small vans that are used by Hart to transport either USF. And hopefully if on the design projects to try to lift up the entire country, it is our hope here in the Tampa Bay area that transportation will be on that list, and that we'll be able to get some of those larger projects done.
I'm gonna stay on that subject of transportation for just a moment with another question that just came in this morning. With the recent appointment of two Florida Supreme Court justices who are members of the Federalist Society, the All for Transportation, sales tax is looking less and less likely to stay. What do you propose we do, given the county commission seems to be unwilling to add this to this ballot initiative to the November ballot?
Yes, that, well, we're not going to give up, first and foremost. That is something that it was the desire of our voters. And you know, it pains me every time I think about that that entire process. When we go through the democratic process, and then you know, it all is unhinged by a lone voice. But will come up with alternate solution federal level. They look at infrastructure, transportation as as a national priority. Then we hope that we'll be able to get some money from there. Another idea is to just allow this to continue along and have the tax be collected as long as possible, and then argue that that tax should come to the communities as opposed to the states. I hear differing opinions on that. Some say that we cannot keep that locally in Hillsborough County that get their tax, but hopefully it will come back to the communities, and at least we will have that amount of money to put towards some smaller transportation solutions in the near future.
And there certainly have been some smaller, you know, transportation solutions that have worked in our community. So it's good to hear that optimism of we will find a way if we don't get that way. Let's switch gears to Super Bowl for a moment. Can you discuss your conversations with the NFL and how Tampa Bay can be prepared to ensure safety while showcasing our region?
I personally have not had conversations with the NFL, to the sports authority. I've talked to clearly the Buccaneers on a number in process, and to know how are they going to be able to allow fans into the games, if that's even possible, and then how to do that safely. The one thing that I'm pretty confident in is that we will have a Super Bowl here in February, and is that we will be the first NFL team to win the Lombardi Trophy in our backyard. So that's definitely going to happen next February.
So we need the game to play since that's what's going to happen, since we're going to win. This is back to transportation a bit and a little bit of a different perspective. There's been some high-profile tragedies on our roadways recently, from Bayshore to many other less chronicled high-traffic corridors. Can you discuss efforts to improve safety on the city-owned maintained roads and the coordination with the county-owned maintained roads?
Yes. Many people don't know that Bayshore is actually a county-owned road. Responsibility for a number of other county roads that are actually in the city. But I have always, as the chief of police and now as the mayor, have been a huge advocate of Vision Zero. And what Vision Zero works towards, the goal is to have absolutely no pedestrian motorist deaths on our roadway. And that is a huge goal, especially in our community, where we're in the top 3 cities and locations for fatalities nationwide. But it is something that we work on, and we will continue to work on. We have the top 20 high crash intersections, and we have the top 20 most dangerous roadways. And we always look at what we call the 3 E's: engineering, education, and enforcement. And so we will continue along those lines. With the engineering, we will look at complete streets. And I know there are a lot of people that are not fans of complete streets, but turning a 4-lane road into a 2-lane road with a turn lane down the middle can handle as much volume as a 4-lane road. So slowing traffic down, making larger sidewalks, protected bike lanes, turn a neighborhood back into a neighborhood. And so we are focused on complete streets throughout our city, roundabouts, make intersections much safer. And then from the education standpoint, trying to ensure that drivers are following the rules. The accidents that we have seen on Bayshore, clearly individuals made very bad choices, driving at excessive speeds, driving under the influence of alcohol and drugs. Those types of things are difficult to control. You can't control human behavior, human decision making in some instances. But we are focused on the safety of all of our roadways, and we're taking steps to make Bayshore safer, basically cutting that up by putting a stoplight at Euclid and a stoplight at Rome as well. But again, you can't stop individuals from making those bad decisions. But we are working every day on making our roadways safe throughout the city, and we will continue to do so. But everyone has to play a part. During this COVID-19 epidemic, we have the speeds, the number of cases of racing out on the streets have increased dramatically. So it goes back to that human behavior. We've in 1 week made arrests in 2 separate racing incidents along our roadways. So everybody needs to do their part and to slow down and ensure that they're following the rules, because they literally can save lives.
Let's switch over to some other neighborhood conversation. We have a question this morning after a greeting of good morning to you. What are the plans to clean up Main Street and Old West Tampa?
Yes. So my family has a cabinet shop right there at Roman Green. It's been there since 1977. And so, and I've worked Main Street as a police officer for years. So it really holds a place in my heart. And it is a beautiful, that Main Street, the actual roadway, the brewery that opened there, and that gorgeous, restored that gorgeous old brick building. That's my vision for Main Street. And we're working with Joe Robinson and the CRA in that particular area to have a long-term vision for Main Street and what it looks like. The related group has a number 5 projects, developments that are going in along Main Street. And then we also have some plans for the riverfront property that has some sports fields and some other social service buildings right down on the waterfront. So we're really looking at that whole West Tampa area, because it is a beautiful historic area that we need to bring back to life.
Thank you. We got another question here, and then I've got one more from our original list. We're not going to get to every question that's come in today, but I just want to thank everyone for continuing to send them. But here's one I think that particular is going to apply from a business perspective. What is the plan for opening early learning centers and other childcare locations as parents return to work?
Yeah, that's been a huge issue. And so we decided several weeks ago to open up our summer camps so that parents aren't going back to work if they don't have a safe environment to leave their children in. And so we made the decision to open up our summer camp. The county, they may change their minds, but originally had decided not to open summer camps. We had done this when the virus first came to town. We had our Parks and Recreation employees trained. We brought in medical staff so that they could screen kids with temperature check to know what signs to look for and how they could keep the kids socially distanced, and the best way that they could provide a safe environment for the kids and give them a constructive outlet for their energy. So we are moving ahead with our summer camps. We're not going to charge for them. It's going to be on a first come, first serve basis. And so we anticipate that we'll be able to serve around 1,000 kids this summer. in our camps. We're also going to continue with our stay and play the nighttime for the older kids, so they can come into the gyms and play basketball and get their homework done and other activities. But we intend to move forward with that. I think it's important, and I think that parents need to get back to work.
Here's kind of our last question. We'll wrap up. It is a big question, and I'm going to add a third piece to it. What do you believe is Tampa's biggest opportunity, Tampa's biggest challenge? And then I'd add to it, and how can the business community and the chamber help the city to take on that challenge and take advantage of that opportunity?
Well, I think our biggest opportunity is the future. I mean, we are poised. One of the things that I want to continue to focus on is our diversity, ensuring that we have diversity not only in our population, but also in our business portfolio. And we have done a good job of that, but we need to continue to focus on that, so that if some type of a situation arises, a pandemic, a downturn in the economy, whatever it is, we will be able to weather that storm better than other cities throughout the nation. So I think the diversification is critically important for our community, and the thoughtful development, ensuring that as we move forward, that we have that overview on how our city is going to grow and what that looks like when we're prepared to pass that off to the next generation. I think that our biggest challenge by far is transportation. We have to have some transportation solutions whenever, and I can imagine that Bob and Craig and Santiago and many others, if they're watching right now, are shaking their heads in agreement that whenever we have businesses or large events, organizations that want to come to our community, it's usually that transportation is really the only box that we have difficulty filling. And so that is a challenge. It's not insurmountable, but that is a challenge that we need assistance with, and I think that we need to focus on as a community. As far as how the chamber can help, do what you're doing right now, being involved from A to Z in the large and the small issues in our community, being a partner not only to the city of Tampa, Hillsborough County, but the entire Tampa Bay area. I've said all along that we are so much stronger as a region. If a company wants to come to St. Pete, to tell them that you get Tampa and Clearwater in the bargain, just elevates our stature on the national and international level. So it's critically important that we work as a region, as the Tampa Bay region, and then also just that everyone does their part and gets involved, no matter what it is. If it's volunteering on a Saturday morning, or if it's mentoring another startup business, or if it's encouraging someone to bring their operation to the city of Tampa, there are a myriad of ways that you and your organization can help grow our community. And again, it's one of the things that makes us the greatest city in the nation, is the fact that everybody is willing to stand up and lend a hand, do whatever needs to be done to get the job done.
Well, thank you. Those are inspiring words. The conversation today has been tremendous, and we've really had an opportunity to dig in and to really listen to you and listen to your inspiring words, but listen to the information and what's going on. I think empowers all of us to do just what you're asked about, for everybody to do their part. And it is wonderful to hear actually the alignment and the things that you talked about with diversification and transportation being, both our challenge and then the biggest strength, that opportunity, the diversification of our community, and how we need to continue to pay attention to that, which is certainly right within the chamber's pillars. And transportation has been something that, our policy group and therefore the entire chamber has really held on to as something that we need to make progress on. So it's wonderful to hear, because it gives us more of a foundation to move forward together with the city and the county. And as you said, the entire region. That whole message about the region is very inspiring and a great way for us to close today. So thank you so much for taking all the time and energy and the work that you've been doing since you began as mayor, and then particularly within this crisis. Thank you sincerely for joining us this morning. A recording of this morning's webinar, for some that couldn't make it, we can share, will be available on the Chamber's website. And to view the recording and read more about the Chamber's business advocacy efforts, visit www.tampabaychamber.com. Our next policy event, Legislative Wrap-Up, will be held virtually on June 9th. You can join the Tampa Bay Chamber and our legislative delegation for reflections on the 2020 session, including analyzing Florida's response to the current pandemic and a preview of 2021. That should be a particularly fascinating legislative wrap-up this year because of all that has happened and a look forward. So please join us. You can register online at the Chamber's website. I want to say a sincere thanks again to St. Leo University for your continued support of our Chamber programming, and this particular Face the Chamber with the Mayor program. It's really important, and as you can see, really interesting. So thank you for your support of the program and the Tampa Bay community. I want to thank you all for attending the program this morning, and thank you for joining us to listen to the mayor and to learn how we can all work together to be Tampa ready for this amazing future that we have in front of us. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day.